Hey, this is Charlie Thompson, and welcome to Physical Geography, Geography 300. I love geography, and there's two things I want to share with you today. The first is what the textbook is that we'll be using this semester, and the second is the wonderful world of Google Earth. So, first things first, let's take a look at the textbook. It looks like this. Geosystems Core. There is only one textbook on the market that is called Geosystems Core. There's only one edition. So if your book is called Geosystems Core, congratulations, you've purchased the correct textbook. And the second thing I want to share with you is Google Earth. So I think Google Earth is the most amazing tool ever, the most amazing geographic tool ever. We're going to be using it this semester in lecture and in lab to show examples. You'll be using it to measure things, but just the graphics alone are just phenomenal. So just looking at the United States, there's obvious physical, there's climate-related issues. For example, across, I'm going to turn on, and one of the things that we'll get into is how to turn on latitude, longitude, grid lines. So the 100th meridian is a magic number in the American West. West of the 100th meridian, you need to irrigate to grow crops. East of the 100th meridian, you don't need to irrigate to grow crops because there's enough rainfall year-round. And a large part of that is due to Coriolis force because of Earth's rotation. At the equator, Earth rotates more quickly than it does at the poles, so everything in the northern hemisphere gets deflected to the right, which means that all of the oceans rotate clockwise. So off of the east coast, there's a warm current coming off of the equator. Because there's a warm current, they get lots and lots of rain year-round. In the Pacific also rotates clockwise, with the warm water flowing along the equator, and then moving up the east coast of Asia before dumping its heat to the poles and then traveling back down the west coast. So in California, we have a cold current. On the east coast, they have a warm current. So in California, we have drought in the summertime. So I'm going to turn off those lines, turn off the grid lines. That's a bit better. So we can zoom into the east coast. And right off the bat, there are 4 amazing features on the East Coast that I'd like to share. Number 1 is the Mississippi. You can really very clearly see the floodplain of the Mississippi River. And if we even zoom in more, you can see where the Mississippi is. You can see the abandoned Oxbow Lakes, the abandoned channels of the Mississippi. You can see other rivers, other tributaries flowing into the Mississippi. So we've got the floodplains of the Mississippi. We've got this arc, which is the arc that has created the black belt soils that are interesting in the 2000, 2004, 2008. In fact, elections of the last 20 years, African-American voters at a much higher rate in the black belt soils voting for Democratic candidates. The third part is the folded Appalachian Mountains, left over from hundreds of millions of years ago from the plate tectonic collision between Africa and Eurasia and North America. And then the last part is, I think, really absolutely completely fascinating, and it has more to do with human geography because it's a result of the way we survey land and chop it up into little chunks. And Thomas Jefferson's idea was that every 6 miles there would be a little town. In fact, this is the Township and Range Survey System. And if we zoom in, too far. If you zoom in, you can see the white dots are the cities. They're towns. And across the flatter parts of the Midwest, there's this very clear pattern of towns about every 6 miles or so. Other things we'll talk about later are the Cascadian volcanoes coming up from Mount Lassen, Mount Shasta, up to Mount St. Helens, erupted in 1980. We'll talk about the extensional deserts, the faulting that's resulting from Earth's crust being stretched apart in Nevada. Anyway, like I said, really quickly, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy physical geography.